Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fusion Podcast, the destination where you can connect with professionals in all aspects to enhance your day-to-day life and your future. You will be enlightened with 15 to 30-minute interviews with these professionals, followed with a DJ theme set to brighten up your day. Excited for our journey together here at Fusion Podcast. Welcome to the family, and now presenting to you yours truly, your host, myself, Andrea Arenas Vasquez, also known as Ace Fusion. Hello, everybody. Welcome back here at Fusion Podcast. We are on episode number 10. A speaker, a womanpreneur, just an amazing individual. I know once you hear this powerful story, our lives are going to change here together at Fusion Podcast. And I'm just super excited to introduce this beautiful human being. And so here we have the one and only Ana Mazacote. Ana, how are you?
Hi.
How are you today? How's everything?
Well, my spirit is
Yes.
to check in with it. It's feeling hopeful, feeling somber, and feeling change.
Yes, that's just beautiful. It has been such an amazing weekend filled with just amazing vibes all over the world right now. And I'm super happy to have you. Here we have listeners from all over the world. I'm super happy and I'm super blessed to have all these listeners from all over the world. I literally looked at, we have people from Spain, from Europe, from Asia. We have a lot of people listening right now. And I know with your powerful story, can you just tell us a little bit about you, your heart? I know people know you as this amazing dancer, Latinx dancer, speaker. You just do a lot of amazing things for the community in general, for the world. So can you just share with us a little bit about you and who you are? That way the listeners know who they're talking to or who they're listening to.
Well, first of all, thank y'all so much for tuning into this podcast episode. And thank you so much for having me on this show. It's an honor just to come and vibe with you, Ace. I would say for me, I am a Chicana queer dance mover
Yes.
that was born of two immigrant parents, originally from Mexico, who immigrated from Guadalajara, Mexico. And I came to Boston to study electrical engineering. And I ended up having a change of heart and ended up going into Afro Latin dance, which was something that I'd always loved all my life, but never realized I could do as a career until I got into college. Started up a company there with my business partner and then husband, Joel Massacott. And now Masagote has basically become an internationally renowned company. And
Wow.
I've been so fortunate to have the ability to travel the world to 35 plus countries. When I was a young girl, just only having been traveled between the US and Mexico. So, yeah, I guess it was for this daughter of immigrants, that was has been a major feat for me. And then now I've started up a second company, and yeah, I'm moving now into Dance to Power, which is an online dance company, and doing a lot more artistic work and other projects. So it's a little bit about what I'm doing now.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. That is so amazing. I know with a lot of things in the world happening the way they're happening right now, so fast, and 2020 being a pandemic, I'm sure that a lot of listeners right now are probably wondering how's has it been for Ana Mazacote and what you've been doing, and what are some things that you can share with us that have been good, and the challenges and how you've overcome and have been able to just pull through 2020 and the pandemic. I know that people are probably wondering, or just how have you still been able to do what you do what you love, and still maintain that motivation, gung ho, dancing spirit.
Oh wow, that's you're taking us there. Yeah. I would say that I, like many artists during this time, have had many highs and lows, and we it's been a process of creation. I think during this time, a lot of artists haven't wanted to create, haven't been inspired to create. Some have been more inspired than ever before to really use arts as advocacy for change. And so you are seeing some of that. But yeah, I think for me, I leaned into whatever I have been feeling during this time. Um, the world has shifted so much over this course of this year that we're learning how to use our art in different ways. And for me, it's just been a learning process as I go through. Um, of course, there was the initial, let's put out the fires, let's change over what we need to in terms of our systems. And then once we got into that point, it's been a question of how do you create art in a world that is more virtual? How do we create art for this world, not change up what we know or what we used to do to abide with it instead? So, yeah, I think what I've been doing is really just changing my framework and asking myself, how do I want to create during this time? How can I look at this period as a change and push myself to look into the possibilities of what is open to us, and how can we use that as an opportunity for something different?
Wow, that's just amazing. I want to first thank you for what you do, because I feel like with you and the work that you bring to the dance community, all in all, like you're very your intentions are always so pure, and you're very just you're just so careful and just so smooth with what you do. I just love it. I know with this pandemic that you just do a lot. I know that you do. Um, you're not just a dance instructor, a Latinx instructor, but you also do spoken word.
Yeah.
You also do, well, you do a lot of like, I would say, you would say motivational speaker as well, right?
um I would say speaking, but I'm totally honored that you say motivational speaking.
To me, because I remember, I remember when I first started following you, and I saw, I don't know, I know you were like in a group of, I don't know if it was a school or a college, but you were just speaking. Just, I know it was spoken word because it was
Mhm.
it sounded more like a poetry, like a poetry slam, and just everything and how you deliver and how you just are so, your strength. When I hear you speak, it gives me strength. It gives me that it just brings me back alive, like if you're having a rough day, when I hear you speak, you just bring back that liveness into our hearts. So what would you say that, before the pandemic, what are some of the things that you really miss doing, that, because right now the pandemic, we're not able to be around people, but what are some things that you miss? Like, I know from you do the spoken word, for all of the things that you do, what is it, the number one thing that you miss doing?
You know, I'm going to answer that with the question.
Oh,
So, how can you miss something that's a part of you, right? If something is truly a part of who you are, and as a being, as a soul, um, then that's here with you, whether you're by yourself or whether you're in community. And I know a lot of people have said they miss dance. Some people have said they've missed poetry or they miss going out doing things, but there you have that within yourself. It's sort of like that idea of you can't find happiness externally, you have to find that happiness internally. And so if you find that place of movement, then that's just a part of who you are. And so
wow.
how can you connect with that at all times is what's really, really important. What I think people are missing the most is the connection with other people. But if you can look at this time, because this is just a temporary time, right? Everything shall pass. And so if we think of this as a temporary time, how can you shift the way that you approach the current state of being so that you ask yourself, what am I supposed to learn in this? Or what can I learn? maybe not supposed to, but what can I learn from this time? How can I learn to be with myself and find movement within myself, find connection to the world at large in a different way? And then you get to a place where you're at peace. So the missing becomes more an understanding of this will come back to us. But during this time, I can still find a little sense of peace. So that's what I've been leaning into. It's really just
Wow.
finding peace.
Wow, wow, wow. That just blew my mind. Like that just ooh, let me pick up my pieces. I love how you answer that. Thank you so much. That's just extremely powerful. But now I do have a question on top of that because I feel like I know someone else will have a question. With that just that powerful answer that you gave us, where would you say that comes from? What resources did do you have? What rituals do you do that you do daily to come into this thoughts and just have those positive thoughts of how you can just turn that missing into um into knowing that you have it already, because a lot of us are missing because we don't know where to turn to. So what are some things that you can share with us that Ana Masacote does to be able to come into that state of peace with, like, okay, so I do, we miss connection, but the missing is here with me, and I can temporarily fulfill that because I am me, I am whole, and I can find that peace and happiness within me. So, what would you say? What could you share with us? What are some things that you do, or some things that way we can find that in ourselves too, if we're not there like you? But you're awesome. Thank you for that. That was super. That was just super amazing.
Uh, well, listen, like I think that I'm still downloading. I'm still a work in progress. We all are. And I'm learning to be in this space. And again, I've had highs, I've had lows. But during those times where I feel most at peace is when I can really connect with myself in that placement of where I am in this moment, present with myself. And present with myself allows me to be present with the world. And so, what I do on a daily basis, I meditate. I get up every morning. I actually am not a morning person.
Okay, okay.
normally, but I trained myself to get up at 6:15 a.m. every morning, and I do an hour meditation in the mornings. I do my workout. I have my breakfast, everything. I do everything before 9 a.m. where I don't allow myself to look at the phone, look to pick up my phone, to look at my social media, at anything. And so that is my self-care. That is my me time. And then I allow myself to get into my work. And so that spending time with myself has been so important. And if anything, this time has really taught us that we need to spend more time with ourselves. And we're living during a period of time when everything is so chaotic that we're sort of like feeling that we're being thrown around into so many different directions, and we're feeling disembodied. We're feeling disconnected from our bodies because we can't be in one place, right? Our mind is mentally in other places, even though our heart is in one place, in a different one. And so um, that allows me just that meditation, that time to reset every morning, gives me that connection to come back into myself, to come back into embodiment.
Wow, thank you so much again for sharing. So, not looking at the phone from the moment you wake up at 6:15, right? Oh, it's a 9 a.m. You know how hard that would be for somebody who's always on their phone?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of us, I mean, the first thing that we do is we look at our phones.
Oh
We're
no,
just
that's neat. That has generally been me too. And
like,
you can train yourself.
right, right. So that's been a ritual thing that you started during the pandemic.
Yeah, well, I've always meditated. I started meditating back in 2012, I think it was. And so I've meditated in just generally as a daily practice, but as a hardcore ritual versus a routine as a hardcore daily ritual, I began that during the pandemic, and it's made such a difference. It really has.
Wow, wow. That I could only, I mean, I've done that a couple of times. Today was like one of the days where I actually woke up before it was at 5:30. No, 5:20. And then I'm like laying down and then I'm like, okay, now I gotta get up, and I worked out, and it feels so good when you actually like dedicated to be like, you know what, I'm not gonna let my mindset keep me laying down, I'm just gonna wake up and do it. And that's been me. I actually been wanting to do things before 7 and then kick off my day, doing everything that I want to do. That way I'm accomplished by 10 o'clock. Everything's completely done. So I love that idea, and that way people understand that when someone who has a business, someone who's taking care of just themselves, there's a lot that comes with owning a business, which I want to get back into. You owning Masacote Entertainment, plus your other company that you started. I really wanted to get into what are you thinking, like what's the process behind what you're doing, as far as like what are your goals, your main goals, as far as like let's say the reasons why you started these companies, like what's the purpose, what's the sole purpose, and what keeps you going, what keeps you saying, you know what, we have to, you just keep creating, what keeps you moving?
Uh, wow. That's a good question. I was raised with immigrant parents, right? I had mentioned that. And I was raised in an environment where life was a daily hustle. And it always felt like you're trying to survive, like you're trying to just get ahead, right? And through that process, watching my family and how they navigated this world, and also as a daughter, having to help them get through it as well, translating legal documents for your parents, um, being there in situations that non-immigrant children generally don't tend to go through. And so I think that taught me a lot in the world about really um, believing in myself enough to push myself forward at all times. And so I started Masacote when I was in college, and that was a real big leap because originally I had always taken that stable route. Oh, I'm going to do electrical engineering because it's stable. And when I switched into business, and it wasn't business like an investment company or anything, it was business as in the arts business, which is being an artist can be a very difficult process of learning. And in that process, we failed many things, and you learn through the failures that that's a success because you learn from it. If you don't learn from it, then you have a problem. But if you can take that failure, really analyze it and adapt to it, and learn from it, you can go forward. And so I never knew anything else but pushing forward. Like if something was working hard against you, then there was a way out. There was always a way forward. You just had to come back to the drawing board and understand, with the new information that you now have, what you need to change to make it work. So that's how I always approached my businesses. What kept me moving forward was always just this thought process that there was a purpose bigger than myself, that my business wasn't a business to me. It was more of a passion. I lived by that mentality of, you make a living by what you get, you make a life by what you give. And so I wanted to always approach my work in a way that was very meaningful to me, that would always give back into community. And so if it failed, or if I did something that maybe didn't work out, let's rephrase that, then I always knew that because it was meaningful to me, then there was a way to change it so that it actually would work again moving forward. So Masacote, when we started it, we didn't, like, I would tell my business professors, and I was at an engineering school, so I would tell them I would tell my professors I wanted to start an arts business, and they would say, what? Like they didn't get it.
Right, right.
And so I didn't have a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of people helping us at the beginning. And over time, that made me learn how to be more self-sufficient. And you had so many people saying that it wasn't going to work out, that it wasn't sustainable. And it wasn't the first few years. It took 7 years for us to have a vacation, to have a vacation.
Wow.
I remember going on this cruise for that and literally slept for like 3 days on the cruise ship because we were just so happy to be able to sleep.
Wow.
And that was how it happened. And now 15 years later, it's really, I mean, like, I'm just blessed to have been able to take that around the world. Dance to Power, my new business, is a startup for 2 years now, going on 3.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yes, that was exciting because I'm in the process of restructuring that. So that one's going to get again relaunched in the new year. So that one is, you'll see a little bit more of that.
The pandemic was the pandemic actually shift a lot of our businesses in ways that are more intentional about, you know, what it is that why we do it and our passion overall. But I want to ask another question before we get into something special that I usually get into with my guests. And if anyone listening right now is interested in starting up their business, or, you know, coming into the entertainment, the Latinx dance community, what advice would you give someone who's like thinking about it, they're scared, you know, and they have the tools? Let's say they have things set up. What would you know, what's a good advice you could tell them? Like, what's something to watch out for that you wish you told yourself, you know, 15 years ago? What's like the really most important? Like, just give us a couple nuggets, because I wanna take notes too.
Gosh, well, I think that sometimes we approach business as something unique, right? That I think that we forget that the way we approach business is the way we also approach life. And there's a lot of importance in understanding the connection between the two.
Wow.
So I also feel that many times we get into these talks because we want advice from people. And the advice, we don't realize that it's not advice we want, it's validation. So we have to ask ourselves, why is it that I need approval from somebody else to tell me that what I can do is okay? To tell me that I should believe in myself, when we have to remember that nobody's going to believe in us until we believe in ourselves.
Right, right.
So we have to learn to listen to the instinct that we already have within ourselves and really just cut through all the noise around us. So for me, I would less give advice in terms of what people want to do, and I would ask you to ask yourself a question. One of my favorite questions, it's this, and I know it's like maybe the second question I've given you. This is the second question. I'm sorry.
This is perfect. That is an advice. Now, listeners, let's listen to that question that we need to ask ourselves. Thank you.
What would you do if you had the discipline to be a free spirit?
Wow.
And that can feel like an oxymoron to people, but you have to ask yourself why that is. But what can you do if you had the discipline to be a free spirit? Answer that for yourself, and that will always give you the answers to how you want to approach your business, but also how you want to approach your life.
Wow. Woo. I'm snapping my fingers over here. That is deep. That is deep. And that is, you just dropping knowledge bombs everywhere right now. But that's amazing. That's an amazing way to look at it, because listeners right now maybe like what maybe already have a plan, but they haven't put a step forward because of that voice, that noise, the noise
Mhm.
sometimes the noise is, it's not even, it's things around us, you know, or even the noises ourselves
Mhm.
that we, you know, we're just like, it's not safe to do that. But sometimes we just have to, you know, jump to be able to really experience and see for ourselves what how far can we go, you know, how far would we go if we knew how far we can go, you know, like we can get far, you know, but we just have to take a step at a time.
Mhm.
But yes, thank you so much for that advice. That's just beyond amazing. um Give us something else. I know there was something else that, like, when you first started, right, other than, you know, than than blocking out that noise. What are some tools that you feel like people uh should have or should know about before starting any type, you know, entertainment business or anything like that? What advice would you give anybody right now? I know that there's people right now listening because they want to know, you know, they want to be able to get somewhere with business, or they just may need advice about how to start their own thing.
Honestly, I think that when I started my business, it was a lot of trial and error. And there were a lot of things that I learned along the way that I wish it's sort of this concept of uh, tell me what I don't know. I didn't know what to learn because I didn't know what I needed to learn.
Mhm.
Right.
Did you read books? Like, did you go to courses? Like, did you sign yourself up? I mean, these are things that I'm curious about because it's important for someone who's done this for 15 years successfully. Like, I mean, a trial and error is good to say, right? But then, like, give me something that, you know, like, you know, people are like, come on, like, I know there's something that they could do, you know, courses. What has been something that you could say that you can think of on top of your head that you're like, that's something that I know that has helped me launch? There's usually something that special that someone does before their business excels, you know, like goes above and beyond.
Well, so you have to understand that it partly depends on what the person wants to do. So you have to ask yourself, what are you wanting to do? And then what are the things that you need for that? So if you don't know exactly what you need, then you find out what you need through you sign yourself up for workshops, you read different books on business, you start asking yourself, what is your vision, what is your mission, which are two different things. Your vision is your why are you doing this? Your mission is your how are you going to do it? What is your vision, what is your mission, and what is your code of ethics? Because it's important for everyone to always have that, both in your person and in your business and in the work that you're in encompassing yourself into. So from there, once you can understand that, then you start lining up. Well, you ask yourself what you're unsure of, and if you're unsure about something, then how can you get the information for that? And one, right now, like, there's so much information online and on YouTube that you can learn, but there's also a lot of business resources in a lot of the cities. There's an organization in the US called SCORE, which has free mentors around the world, business mentors that
Wow.
you can sign up with. And so every community that you're in, more often than not, has free mentoring advice from business coaches that you can look for. And so my advice would be to go to look for them and start by understanding what it is that you want to do, and then ask yourself what you're not comfortable with, and find out what you need to be able to do that through your workshop, through your training, and through mentors. And mentors could be these organizations, but they sometimes can be a friend of yours, and we don't realize that we can ask our friends to be our mentors in what we want to do. And that's something that I want to highly recommend look for mentors.
Wow. Wow. That's exactly what, you know, I'm sure that a lot of people are like, you know, that information right there can literally kickstart somebody in, you know, in their hearts and minds that they can do it now, you know. Thank you for that, Anna. Anna, you're just beyond amazing. And I know that you share so much amazing knowledge with us about, you know, the business and everything. Can we get a little bit into the topic of music? Do you like music? Do you like music?
I love.
All right. But music, right? Because I know that everything that you do specifically, it involves music. Majority of the things that you do involve music. What can you tell us your connection with music and how music has changed your life? Just enlighten us with how music has played a role in your life.
Mm, well, I guess, have you ever been asked like how has dance changed your life? Have you ever been asked that?
I've been asked that, yes. It's so unexplainable, but it's
Yes.
you're like lost for words, but like, you're like, it's my everything. Like I get emotional thinking about it because it has literally been my savior for many things that I've gone through, and it keeps me alive and moving.
Yeah.
Dancing, music itself. I feel connected to my ancestors, my history, my past.
Mm.
I think about how music started, with the drums and people outside just dancing to rhythms that they made with their hands and clapping and
Yes.
slavery. It makes me think about slavery too. It makes me think about how, like just different things, like how our past is connected to music, point blank. Like that's music is powerful. Music is literally powerful. It's generations on generations that pass on music.
c- Dance and music, it's intrinsic to us. And the our bodies are made of 60% water, right? And there's so many studies around the power that sound has on water, right? And so if you think about that, the effect of sound is not in our ear what we're hearing, but it's actually affecting us internally. And because it is a part of us, right? There is music in silence. If you sit back, there is music in silence. And if we can understand how to tap into the energy of that, then you start understanding the memory that water has within us as well, right? The memory that our bodies have to what you just finished saying, to our ancestors, right?
Wow.
How are we connected to our past, and how is our past connected to our present? So then if you can think of it that way, for me, music is just I am music. I am movement. And I don't look at it as an external factor. I look at it as something that's just a part of me in my everyday life. And the frequencies of the different sounds based on whatever music or type of music or songs we're listening to, they will speak to us in different ways. The words speak to the memory of the body. The sound frequencies speak to the feeling that we're connecting with. And so, for me, it's not any different from who I am. It's just a part of me. It's always there. It's always been a part of me. And if you think about it, we come out moving. We come out as these beautiful energetic beings.
Right.
And we're just tapping into what we already know, what already exists in us.
Right, right. And what are some songs that
Ooh,
I like to ask this question. What is a song that you like, let's say if you're in a mood where because a lot of us go through things in life, right? And what's one song that you could think of that you could always go to make your mood better, just happier mood? Like we all have that happy song, right? Can you tell us your happy song? Like what song makes you laugh, like when you're sad, when even if you're here you cry, but you're still happy and laughing because the song is just amazing.
For me, La Reina, Selena.
Selena.
Basically, mostly any of her music, but Bitty Bitty Bom Bom, like if you play something, like there's just.
It just makes you I'm already smiling right now.
Yes, that's the Chicana in me, the one that grew up on Selena since I was a kid.
Did you
So
ever do the washing machine?
no, well, yes and no. Yes.
Every time that part in the movie comes on, I try it. And I don't do it as good.
That's the best. That is the best.
When the mom is teaching her how to do the washing machine. I love that analogy, like washing machine. Like,
Yeah,
sorry, I had to be silly because
I love it. No, I love it.
my cheeks hurt because I love that movie, and that movie is a movie that I could watch and feel happy. But then at the end it's sad. But just watching her life and like the true artist in her, the authentic human being that she was, how pure she was. To me, that's the kind of human being that I strive to be. Like she's just a beautiful soul, and you could feel it, and you could see it through the movie, right? That's what makes it sad towards the end. But what makes me happy is just that someone like that got to live and spread love through what they love doing, which is what Fusion Podcast is about. Conversation, sharing passion, just being able to see someone's story and how they've been able to turn their life into what they love and to what just share, right? And then music heal others. That's what Fusion Podcast is: conversation and then healing.
Mm.
And you, Anna, are like you are like a perfect guest that I could have here on Fusion Podcast, just to be able to share your story and be able to change lives together. Just know that I look up to you so much, and I'm sure a lot of people that are gonna that are tuning in and find out who you are and just look you up, they're gonna be super like mind blown, like I am every time. Like, I just can't believe that you're like that I could call you one of my friends, one of the people that I look up to, and I'm just blessed to know.
My God. Well, I want to say to your words, I'm perfectly imperfect as we all
Aw.
are. And um I'm blessed to I mean, I think that your podcast is so wonderful, and just to have something that's dedicated towards helping people feel a little brighter today or find new ways to look at the world. I think like we need more of that. So thank you for the light that you brought into the world. Thank you for the light you bring into my life.
Thank you. And I know people are probably gonna be wondering, like, where can I find Ana Masacote? Like, can I follow her? So can you tell us a little bit about where we can follow you and where we can find you, and if we wanted to work with you or bring you in to do one of those amazing spoken words, where can we find you?
You can look me up
Or
on,
take classes with you.
oh, hell yeah. You can look me up on anamasagote.com. My business, dance2power.com, will be relaunching in the new year. So you'll be able to know that what I have up now is in transition, and you'll be able to sign up and do more classes then. But you can find me anywhere at Ana Masacote on Facebook, Instagram, anywhere, basically. Twitter.
Oh, thank you. Oh, Twitter. Yes. I don't even use Twitter. I don't even know my password anymore.
Oh gosh.
But love, I just this one last thing that I'm gonna respectfully request of you is is there any last words right now that in your heart you feel like that the first thing that comes out of your, like that you can think of, that people out there listening right now, whatever you feel, whatever throughout the week that has happened, that you feel like you could share with the world, that could help us heal?
Hmm.
And if you want to take a moment to just take a deep breath inhale and exhale through your mouth, and just enlighten us.
Well, I will say that there is a lot of chaos and a lot of noise in this moment. And I don't want to only focus on this one moment, because that chaos for many people happened before this year as well. So I think it's important for us to remember to lean on each other and to reach out if you need help, if you need a little hand. There's a lot of people out here who are ready to help out. And yeah, reach out, look to each other, lean on each other, and also be there for someone to lean on if you're on the other side of it too. So yeah, let's look out for one another. That's the best thing we can do right now.
Wow, you just that was beautiful. That was perfectly said throughout this chaos and all the noise. But I really I need a moment. That's just it touched my soul. Thank you so much for that. I needed those words. I really did. But again, this is Fusion Podcast here, episode 10 with Ana Masacote. Again, thank you all so much for tuning in. We appreciate you, Ana Masacote. It was such a pleasure to have you. Truly an honor to have you here at Fusion Podcast, episode number 10. And the listeners, you could say your goodbyes now.
Ay, gracias. Thank you so much.
All right, yeah, we'll see you on the other side. You already know what time it is. DJ Ace is on the mix.
DJ Ace is in the mix.
room, sometimes I stare at the wall, and in the back of my mind I hear my conscience call, telling me I need a girl who's as sweet as a dove. For the first time in my life, I see I need love. There I was, giggling about the games that I had played with many hearts, and I'm not saying no names. Then the thought occurred, teardrops made my eyes blur, as I said to myself, look what you've done to her. I can feel it inside, I can't explain how it feels. All I know is that I'm never dishing of the raw deal, playing make-believe, pretending that I'm true, holding in my laugh as I say that I love you, saying I'm more, kissing you on the ear, whispering I love you and I'll always be here. Although I often reminisce, I can't believe that I found a desire for true love floating around inside my soul, because my soul is cold. One half of me deserves to be this way till I'm old, but the other half needs affection and joy, and the warmth that is created by a girl and a boy. I need love. Romance, sheer delight, how sweet. I gotta find me a girl to make my life complete. You can scratch my back, we'll get cozy and huddle. I'll lay down my jacket so you can walk over a puddle. I give you a rose, pull out your chair before we eat. Kiss you on the cheek and say, ooh girl, you're so sweet. It's deja vu whenever I'm with you. I could go on forever telling you what I do, but where you at, you're neither here nor there. I swear I can't find you anywhere. Damn sure ain't in my closet or under my rug. This love search is really making me bug. And if you know who you are, why don't you make yourself seen? Take a chance with my love and you'll find out what I mean. Fantasies can run, but they can't hide. And when I find you, I'ma pour all my love inside. I need love.
Gonna find you and take it slowly. Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. Gonna find you and make you want me.
Now that I escape, sleep, walk away. Those who correlate know the world ain't kick. Jail bars ain't golden gates. Those who fake, they break. When they meet their 400-pound mate, if I could rule the world, everyone would have a gun in the ghetto, of course. When get the up and on their horse, kick around drinking moonshine. I pour a sip on the concrete for the deceased, but no, don't weep. Wyclef's in a state of sleep, thinking about the robbery that I did last week. Money in the bag, banker look like a drag. I wanna play with pelicans from here to Baghdad. Gun blast, think fast, I think I'm hit. My girl pinched my hips to see if I still exist. I think not, I'll send a letter to my friends. A born again hooligan, only to be king again.
Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. Gonna find you and take it slowly. Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. Gonna find you and make you want me. Yo, I play my enemies like a game of chess where I rest. No stress if you don't smoke sense. Less, I must confess, my destinies manifest in some cortex and sweats. I make tracks like I'm homeless. Rap orgies with Orgy and Best. Capture your bounty like Elliot Ness. Yes, bless you if you represent the fool, but I hex you with some witches brew if you do voodoo. I could do what you do, easy. Believe me, frontin' trickin' it be heebie-jeebie. So why you imitating Al Capone? I be needing Simone and defecating on your microphone. Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. Gonna find you and take it slowly. You can't run away from these styles I got, oh baby. Hey baby, 'cause I got a lot, oh yeah. Anywhere you go, my whole crew gonna know, oh baby. Hey baby, you
now they under pushing up flower. Super fly, true lies do or die. Toss me high, only puff fly with my crew from like high. I refugee from Guantanamo Bay. Dance around the border like I'm Cassius Clay.
Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide.
Yo sé que tienes un nuevo amor, sin embargo te deseo lo mejor. Si en mí no encontraste felicidad, tal vez alguien más te la dará. Como la flor, con tanto amor me diste tú. Ese marichito me marchó y yo sé perder, pero ay, cómo me duele, ay, cómo me duele. Si vieras cómo duele perder tu amor, con tu adiós te llevas mi corazón. No sé si pueda volver a amar, porque te di todo el amor que pude dar. Como la flor, con tanto amor me diste tú. Ese marichito me marchó y yo sé perder. Hey, 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 yeah. Biri bam bam, biri bam bam, biri bam, biri. Cada vez que lo veo pasar, mi corazón se enloquece y me empieza a palpitar. Se emociona, ya no razona, no lo puedo controlar. Se emociona, ya no razona y me empieza a cantar. Me canta así, así. Biri biri bam bam, biri biri bam bam, biri biri bam bam, biri biri bam bam, biri 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 bam bam, biri 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 biri. Cada vez que lo oigo hablar, me tiemblan hasta las piernas y el corazón igual. Se emociona, ya no razona, no lo puedo controlar. Que humareda que nos viene ahogando, la gente se pregunta, nadie sabe qué es. Un carro viejo que viene pitando, con llantas de triciclo y el motor al revés. En la esquina yo esperando, como siempre su novia bien. Mis amigas se están burlando, murmura cosas de él. Carcacha, paso a pasito, no dejes de tambalear. Carcacha, poco a poquito, no nos vayas a dejar. Carcacha, paso a pasito, no dejes de tambalear. un hombre de verdad. Y aunque tenga una carcacha, lo que importa es que voy con él. Tampoco será el más guapo, pero sí es mi novio fiel. Lost in a dream, I don't know which way to go. Let me say that if you are all that you seem, then baby I'm moving way too slow. I've been fooled for, wouldn't like to get my love caught in the slamming door. How about some information, please? Straight up now, tell me, do you really wanna love me forever? Or am I caught in a hit and run? Straight up now, tell me, is it gonna be you and me together? Or are you just having fun?
Oye, mi amor, no me digas que no. Y vamos juntando los cuerpos. Oye, mi amor, no me digas que no. Oye, mi amor, no me digas que no. Y vamos juntando las almas. Oye, mi amor, no me digas que no. Y vamos juntando los cuerpos.
Este amor apasionado anda todo alborotado por volver. Voy camino a la locura y aunque todo me tortura, sé querer. Nos dejamos hace tiempo, pero me llegó el momento de perder. Tú tenías mucha razón, le hago caso al corazón y me muero por volver. Y volver, volver, volver a tus brazos otra vez. Yo sé perder, quiero volver, volver, volver. dejamos hace tiempo, pero me llegó el momento de perder. Tú tenías mucha razón, le hago caso al corazón y me muero por volver. Y volver, volver, volver a tus brazos otra vez. Llegaré hasta donde estés, yo sé perder, quiero volver, volver, volver.
Wow. Thank you, everybody, so much for tuning in here at Fusion Podcast, episode number 10 with Ana Masacote. We really appreciate your presence, and I know that we can't see you, but I hope that we touch at least one heart and one soul. That's our purpose here at Fusion Podcast. And again, thank you all so much. And a friendly reminder, Ace Fusion Entertainment LLC on YouTube if you want to hear the mix and the conversation. And then on Anchor, of course, you can find the conversation. And then don't forget to tune in to episode number 11. We have a very special guest and another one from Boston. We have an amazing DJ, a promoter, an event creator. And yeah, it's a little secret. Can't wait to reveal who it is. So make sure to stay tuned and we'll see you on the other side.